From the shining domicile that is Pittsburgh Comics, my old mannered comic shop owner, Colin McMahon, transforms into the world's greatest comic book talking TV host. Join us, true believers, for Comics Now!
Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Now for December 2019. The end of the year is almost here, but the holidays are here too, so that makes it extra special. The cold has come in, it's time to hunker down, time to get stuff to read, time to come in and get gifts, all sorts of things going on. I have lots of neat things I'm going to try this year, little different bundles and stuff. Also in December, I always do the 12 Days of Festivus leading up to Christmas. That starts on December 13th, where I do a different special every day. So I'm actually going to try to plan this one ahead of time instead of going by the seat of my pants like I normally do. So pay attention every day once we hit the middle of the month to see exactly what's going on. For book club this month, we're going to do Claus, which is Grant Morrison's story of the history of, or the origin of Santa Claus and how he came to be. When this came out in issues, it was really popular amongst my customers, and they really, really enjoyed it. But then they came out with the hardcover, and they finally this summer came out with the paperback. So we're doing that this month. Now, unfortunately, we're pushing it back to January 3rd, so there actually won't be a book club in December, only because the 20th is Star Wars, so I figure people are going to want to go see Star Wars instead of coming here. And then the next Friday is the 27th, was just a couple days after Christmas. So we decided to move it to January 3rd when things are a little calmer. And then the double points, our spotlight is this month is Superman. There's a big thing going on in Superman this month, so I figured we'd spotlight Superman. We have a neat little display of some of the better and more popular Superman books, things you might want to check out if you're interested in something different for Superman. So that's what we have going on. Also, a little change this year. Because Wednesday falls on Christmas Day, we're not going to have any new books that week. So our last week of new books will be on December 18th. So everything I'm talking about is going to be a little bit compressed into the first 3 weeks of the month. So they should be really robust weeks. The last week of the month, they are sending a couple books the week before. So we will have some books for the week of the 26th, but not a ton. And then after that, we're going to be open on New Year's Day, because that's going to be the first Wednesday of 2020. So lots of stuff coming that day. So that's just some housekeeping stuff going on. So we'll get started with DC, since we're focusing on DC with our Superman month. We'll start with DC and some of the stuff that they have going on. Okay, starting off, Year of the Villain is starting its final wrap-up. We're getting to the end of that. And we're starting off, there's a mini-series starting called Year of the Villain, Hell Arisen. It's a 4-issue mini-series by James Tynion and Steve Epting. And what this is, we're finally getting the conflict between Lex Luthor, who's the architect of Year of the Villain, and the Batman Who Laughs, who's doing his own thing. And they have conflicting ideas, and they're going to have a knockdown, drag-out fight. So that's going to be portrayed in this, and I'm sure lots of the other books that are coming along. We also have a couple Year of the Villain specials. We have Harley Quinn, Villain of the Year, a little twist on it, written by Mark Russell, fan favorite here at the store. And basically, Harley's going to pick the Villain of the Year, but you can vote. So if you go to dcvillainoftheyear.com, you can vote as to who is DC's Villain of the Year. So that's fun. We're getting an Ocean Master Year of the Villain one-shot. And basically, at the end of the Drowned Earth story, Orm lost everything. He was king, he lost his wife, he lost his crown, he lost everything. And through his coming back, he's discovered a newfound power that he didn't know he had, which is going to change everything for him. So it's going to be kind of a rebirth of the character of Ocean Master. We're getting a new one from Joe Hill's Hill House Comics, which has been a really, really good horror line of comics. And this one is called The Low, Low Woods, which is kind of it's a Pennsylvania-based story where there's a town called Shudder to Think, PA, where underneath the mines have been burning for 5 years. And 2 kids go into the theater, and all of a sudden they don't realize why they're there. They have a lapsed memory, and they have to determine and find out what happened to them. And in the meantime, they find out all these different mystery things about their town and their lives. Dark Knight Returns. Frank Miller is back with a one-shot called The Golden Child. And this is drawn by Rafael Grampa, who's a really fascinating Brazilian artist with a really unique style. And this is basically the story of the baby. In Master Race, there was Wonder Woman spent the entire time protecting a child that was the child of her and Superman. Well, he's grown up now, and he's the golden child. And now young Jonathan Kent has a power that's going to be unleashed that the world has never seen. So it's the next chapter in The Dark Knight Returns after Master Race, written by Frank Miller. So I'm excited about this one. Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad is back. I think the movie's coming, so of course they want to get a new series out. The neat thing about this one is it's written by Tom Taylor, who has done really, really good things both at Marvel and at DC. He did the Injustice series at DC that people really liked, and he also just did Deceased, which was a really neat take on DC zombies. So he's taking over Suicide Squad and planning on having a lot of fatalities in that. Tying in with the Batman Who Laughs, we're getting The Infected Deathbringer, where this is Donna Troy, who has been infected by the Man Who Laughs. And basically, she's a woman whose past has been her greatest adversary and whose newly awakened dark side is ready to burn it all down and forge a new destiny. So should be interesting, especially if you're a Donna Troy fan. And we're also getting The Infected, the Commissioner. And this is where Commissioner Gordon... it's a story of a man who has finally given in to his worst impulses, and he might just take the entire city down with him. So, lots of fun stuff. New Year's Evil. This is 10 stories by different creative teams based on villains in the DC universe and a special New Year's Eve story for all of them. Tales of the Dark Multiverse. This has been a neat one where they're taking a spin, almost a what if certain events in the DC history had taken place on a darker world. And this one is Judas Contract, where Tara, instead of betraying the Titans, actually betrays Deathstroke before that, and without the influence of her master. And she's taken the serum that Deathstroke uses to power him up, and she takes her the whole thing in a very different direction. So that should be good, especially if you're an old school Titans fan. A couple facsimile editions they're doing. They're doing Crisis on Infinite Earths, number 8, which is the original death of Barry Allen, who didn't come back for a very, very long time. Then we're getting Wonder Woman Dead Earth. This is a new Black Label book. And this is from Daniel Warren Johnson, who's had a real good run on a lot of indie image books, including Murder Falcon that just came out. And this is basically a story of Wonder Woman devoted her life to protecting man's world. And something happens and she awakens from a deep sleep to find that the Earth has been destroyed by and turned into a nuclear wasteland. And she has to figure out what happened and how to save it, and also discover what her role was in it along the way. So this one looks really, really good. Batman 85 is the end of the current City of Bane storyline. It's also Tom King's last issue before he starts on the Batman Catwoman story. So this is going to be an oversized issue. It's also going to have a preview of the new run starting in 86, written by James Tynion and drawn by Tony Daniel. So we'll wrap up the current storyline and get a preview of what's coming next. So that should be really good. Deathstroke is ending at 50. Detective Comics 1017 is a guest story by Tom Taylor, who's done a couple annuals that have been really good. And this is a story where a boy is lost from the Wayne Foundation orphanage, and Batman has to reunite with the estranged Damian to help find this kid, and some other dastardly things happen while they're looking. Doomsday Clock 12. That's finally going to be out on the 18th. We're wrapping up that story. It's been fantastic. I'm really happy it's ending finally, and to see exactly how they end it. It's one that's really had a slow start, but really picked up steam. Superman 18, I alluded to this earlier. Superman is giving up in outing himself and revealing to the world that Clark Kent is Superman, and that's happening in this issue. It's going to lead to more ramifications. There's a new issue coming out in January dealing with how all the heroes deal with that. So that's going to be a big one. People are going to be talking about this one for a while. Okay, that's what we got from DC. Now here's what's coming from Marvel in December. Okay, the big one is Incoming. That's the one they're working on. It's following from the stories that were in Marvel 1000 and 1001. It's written by a whole host of creators, like a ton of them. It's a big, thick $10 issue. And basically, a mysterious murder brings together the heroes of the Marvel Universe in search of a killer, but no one can imagine where the trail will lead or how it will affect everything in 2020 and beyond. And this is one of the Skip Week books, so this will be out on the 26th. So Marvel is really pushing this one. Annihilation Scourge is continuing in a bunch of one-shots. We're getting a Nova, a Silver Surfer, a Fantastic Four, a Beta Ray Bill, and then it's ending up in Omega. So lots of Annihilation stuff. We're getting a Giant-Sized Defenders #3 facsimile edition. We're getting an Eternals #1 facsimile edition because that's turning into, I think, a movie or a TV show. So they're working on Eternals. Conan Secret War. This is fun. I guess Marvel's gotten the rights to the whole Robert E. Howard franchise, so they're using some other characters. So this is a team up between Conan, Solomon Kane, Dark Agnes, who are all Robert E. Howard characters, and Moon Knight for the heck of it, because Moon Knight's kind of an outlier and he kind of fits in with this group. So that's going to be a little mini-series that they're doing. Spider-Man 2099 is continuing in the Spider-Man books, and now we're getting a new Spider-Man 2099 series. Nick Spencer is writing this one, and basically the future of the Marvel Universe is about to die and the world needs a hero. As Miguel faces a destiny he's tried to run from all his life, the secrets of 2099 begin to reveal themselves. And then this is leading into a bunch of one-shots as well. We're getting a Ghost Rider 2099, Doom 2099, Venom 2099, and a 2099 Omega, wrapping up that whole storyline. Doctor Strange is getting a new #1. The big thing that led to the creation of Doctor Strange was he was in a car accident, his hands were damaged, and he could no longer be a surgeon. So he went off in search of the Ancient One to fix his hands. He wasn't able to fix his hands, but he became Sorcerer Supreme. Well, now something has happened and his hands are fixed. So now it's going to be the story of Doctor Strange, Surgeon Supreme, and he has to determine what's more important to him, the magical aspects or being the greatest neurosurgeon in the world. So, written by Mark Waid and drawn by Kev Walker. Cosmic Ghost Rider is back in Revenge of the Cosmic Ghost Rider, written by Dennis Hallam and Donny Cates, drawn by Scott Hepburn and Jeff Shaw. So, if you like the character, he's back. Thor the Worthy is a one-shot with 3 different stories, one of which is written by Walt Simonson, who had probably the best Thor run ever back in the 80s. So there's a story about Thor and Beta Ray Bill, a Thunderstrike story drawn by Pittsburgh native Ron Frenz, and then a Lady Sif story. So it's just kind of a Thor special before we get the new Thor issue coming out on January 1st, the new series. Symbiote Spider-Man Alternate Reality. And basically they're having fun going back to the 80s black costume Spider-Man before he realized that the symbiote was Venom, and they're telling more stories of that, written by Peter David. Spider-Ham, everybody's favorite character from Into the Spider-Verse, is getting his own miniseries, and this is where Peter Porker is teaming up with Peter Parker, and they're jumping through time, having adventures. Venom 21 begins the Venom Island issue, spinning out of Absolute Carnage. Now we have an island of Venoms. Marvel Avengers Iron Man, they're starting a bunch of prequels to the next video game. So this first one is Iron Man. And there's a new Star Wars movie coming out, in case you didn't know it, so Marvel is taking full effect of that and having a lot of excitement there. Charles Soule and Will Sliney are doing a new book called The Rise of Kylo Ren, which is a mini-series, giving us the backstory of how Ben Solo became Kylo Ren. So that'll be fun to find out about the Knights of Ren and all that stuff. We're also getting Star Wars Saga, which is a one-shot kind of getting you up to speed on everything that happened in the main Star Wars book through its first 75 issues, because on January 1st, we're getting a new Star Wars 1. The prior Star Wars series took place between New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and the new series is starting up after Empire Strikes Back, in the after effect of finding out Darth Vader is Luke's dad. Sorry about that. Han's been frozen. We'll see where that goes. We're also getting Star Wars Empire Ascendant, which is a one-shot leading up to Empire. Since they're not going to cover Empire, this is a little prequel to that, Darth Vader looking for them on Hoth, things like that. We're also getting a Star Wars 1 facsimile edition. So if that big oversized great one drawn by young Howard Chaykin, really neat book. They're doing a reprint of that. Image has some neat stuff coming out. And the first one is part of a program that I want to make sure you guys know about. It's called 20XX, And it's done by one of the Luna brothers. And basically, in a world of Sims and norms, Sims are a small percentage of the population, but because they're frowned upon and terrorized, they need to band together in small groups, but that also makes them more powerful. Now, this book is also part of the Comics Omnivore program. And what this was organized by a retailer down in Florida as a way to get more eyes on books. His general manager reads everything, and he calls himself an omnivore because he reads everything that comes out. And he was like, how can we get people to try new books? That's kind of a big problem in this industry. People get in their ruts and often don't want to branch out and try new things. So what we do, there's a couple books a month that are part of the Comics Omnivore program, where they team up with the publishers where the books are returnable, so we can order a whole bunch and offer them to the readers at $1 off. So you're saving, it's giving you a chance to try something new, something good, and see if you like it with less risk to us and actually a little less risk to the readers. So that's what we have going on. This is one of the Comics Omnivore books that's coming out in December. Then, so we also have The Old Guard. The Old Guard Returns. This was a book that came out, a miniseries a little while ago, written by Greg Rucka and drawn by Leandro Fernandez. And it's a story of immortal soldiers and like current day soldiers who are immortal and their stories and how hard, what kind of fighting do you do when you can't be hurt. This has also been picked up, I believe, by Netflix to be made into a movie. So it's nice that they're bringing it back to have a little more stuff. Another one is Lucy Clare Redemption. Basically, Lucy Clare was a hero. Then she was stripped of everything. She lost her home, she lost her family, and kind of had to go into exile. And now her great nemesis is back, and she has to come out of hiding and redeem herself and get her family back to protect them from this great evil. Project Christmas. This is an interesting one from Mark Miller, who's done a bunch of books from Wanted, Huck, The Jupiter's Legacy and Jupiter's Circle, all sorts of things. He's doing kind of a book that we don't know what it is. It's going to be a surprise. We had to order it blind. It's basically a sequel to one of his favorite projects, one of his favorite books, but we don't know which one it is. So this will be fun. It is returnable for us, so we're ordering it with a safety net, but it's really kind of hard to order something that you have no idea what it is. He's kind of been playing these games. Last month he did Chrononauts that all shipped all 4 issues on the same day. So he's trying different ways to get books out there. Hardcore Reloaded. This was a miniseries that came out a little while ago, where hardcore is a way that like the U.S. government, like military people, can go inside a person and take over their body and do things like assassinate somebody or get espionage, things like that. And things go awry, and the head guy gets put in somebody's head and then cut off, so he had to figure his way out. This is back, and basically now this technology has been out to the masses, and bad guys now have access to this technology. And the only way to get the genie back in the bottle is Agent Drake has to recruit his greatest enemy to help him. So we'll see how that goes. Over My Dead Body original graphic novel. It's a fast-paced, pulpy thriller where the prison warden's daughter had fell in with a separatist militia, and the only person that can help get her out is his greatest prisoner, his most dangerous prisoner. So he has to recruit him to do a mission. So that's the stuff coming from Image. Now, Dark Horse, we're getting Skulldigger, which is the next part of Black Hammer. The part on the farm and those characters' story has wrapped, but Jeff Lemire is continuing his story with Skulldigger. We're also having, there's a lot of continuing stuff from Dark Horse this month. We're getting Tales from Harrow County, where Cullen Bunn and Tyler Crook are continuing the story that takes place a couple years after the end of the regular Harrow County story. Criminal Macabre is back, and this is Steve Niles, where it's Cal McDonald as a supernatural detective. So we're going to get some more stories from him. We're also getting an Aliens versus Predator story. This is Thicker Than Blood. Takes place on a luxury, like, space cruiser with all, rich and high-profile people, and there's a battle between the aliens and the predators. Kill Whitey Donovan. This takes place back during slavery. After Anna's sister commits suicide, she heads off to Atlanta to kill the man responsible for destroying her family, Whitey Donovan. So, doesn't look good for Whitey. Butcher of Paris. This takes place in 1944 in Paris, and a guy has used the chaos of the resistance and everything to start killing people. So now the police have to try to find him and thwart the Nazis and all sorts of fun. Stranger Things is giving us a graphic novel called Zombie Boys, where in the aftermath of season 1, Joey Kim, who has his brand new Betamax camcorder, wants to do a zombie movie based on the drawings of Will. And hilarity ensues. And Hellboy and BPRD are back for a one-shot, and this is fun because Mike Mignola and Adam Hughes doing the issue. And basically it's about a girl whose ghost hunt goes wrong and Hellboy has to get her out of trouble. Now on to IDW. They have some interesting stuff too. Dying is Easy. This is another one from Joe Hill, and this is an interesting one where Sid is a disgraced ex-cop who has now turned to a life of stand-up comedy. But he's very bitter and very angry about it. And as another comedian is about to make it big, he's doing it on the basis of stolen jokes. And everybody kind of hates him. And someone approaches Sid to see how much it would cost to take him out. And surprisingly, he already had a price in mind. So, new one from Joe Hill. Wellington. This is about the Duke of Wellington, who not only is a decorated military hero, he is also the most daring monster hunter in England. So, fun and exciting with the Duke of Wellington. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles hits issue 100. It got pushed back from last month, so we're hitting a milestone there. I Can Sell You a Body sounds fun. Basically, if you're dead, Denny can help. He can put your soul back in a living body, but at a price. But of course, something goes wrong, and now the mafia is after him, and he has 48 hours to save himself. There's another one called The Kill Lock. 4 robots who find themselves banished for things that they have done are kept together with this thing called the Kill Lock, where if one of them dies, they all die. So they all have to work on keeping themselves safe. And it's a group of 4, a soldier, an addict, a murderer, and a child. And they have to figure out a way to keep themselves safe. Narcos got pushed back. This is a miniseries based on the Netflix show. Read Only Memories is a book by Sina Grace based on a video game called that. So I'm not super familiar with video games, but apparently it's enough to make a comic. Dynamite is doing a new Deja Thoris book and also a new James Bond book. Those seem to be their go-tos. Boom has a new one called Red Mother. This is another one of the comic omnivore books, so give it a shot. But basically, after losing her eye and the man she loves in a brutal mugging, Daisy is trying to get her life back together. But now she's seeing things through her prosthetic eye, strange things that she doesn't understand, but also the Red Mother can also see her. So it sounds creepy and weird and fun. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The Green Power Ranger turns on his friends and joins Shredder in New York City, and now the Power Rangers have to team up with the Turtles to defeat them both. An epic team-up is what they said it was going to be. And then we're getting a new one-shot. It's Claus and the Life and Times of Joe Christmas. Basically, Joe Christmas was abandoned as a child and taken in by Claus. And this is going to be 25 days of Christmas, and each page is going to be a different story, like an advent calendar comic book type of thing. Ablaze is a new company. Their first book came out was Vampire State Building. And the next one they have coming out is Gung Ho, which they are calling a spiritual successor to The Walking Dead, about a group of people after a zombie apocalypse. Archie is bringing back Vampironica. After the end of Vampironica versus Jughead, she finds she has new powers and she's back for new stories. And then the last one, the last book, there's a lot of this month, just a lot of things are issues 2 and 3, not a lot of new. The last one is interesting. It's from Valiant. It's called The Visitor, and they did The Visitor a long, long time ago. But The Visitor, this is how the world ends. Unstoppable, untraceable, unkillable. Who is the Visitor? Why are the leaders of the free world afraid of him? And will they live long enough to find out? The neat thing about this is it's being written by Paul Levitz. Now, Paul Levitz ran DC Comics for the 80s, 90s, most of the 2000s. Huge run on Legion of Superheroes, just a great industry person. So it's neat to see him back writing a book, and of all things, a Valiant book. So it's going to be, I'm really interested to see where this goes, just because of his resume and everything. So that's all the new stuff coming out in December. Lots of stuff going on. Please pay attention to the website, especially in the middle of the month when Festivus begins on the 13th. So we'll keep that going with all the different sales and promotions and stuff. Like I said, I'm going to try some different things this month if I can get my act together. Book Club is going to be kicked to January 3rd, but it's going to be Claus, the story of Santa Claus by Grant Morrison. And it's Superman month this month. So we'll have a little display and double points on all Superman graphic novels. So as always, if you have any questions, I'm reachable at the store. The website's Pittsburgh Comics. Facebook is Pittsburgh Comics. Twitter and Instagram are PGH Comics. So thanks for watching and stay tuned for Comic Previews Theater. Thanks.
Uh-oh. I am inside the White Lantern power ring. Or I have passed away. I have been chasing what I discovered to be a broken, maybe ancient White Lantern power ring. And in doing so, I intercepted the immortal criminal Vandal Savage, who has been chasing it for hundreds, if not thousands of years. When I engaged the ring, I discovered firsthand that it was, in fact, some sort of broken, old technology with, like its predecessors, power over time and space. This is not the kind of tech anyone wants malfunctioning. I'm recording my scientific findings through my armor, which is completely different than talking to myself to keep from going insane in the vast, opaque whiteness that may be my home for the rest of my life. Unless I am stuck in a timeless space with nothing. Ring, what is your function? I am Batman. Greetings. Who am I speaking to? Patience. Breathe. You are a detective in a world with no clues. This could be fun. As long as my physical body is okay. Batman's physical body is not okay. Not cool, guys. In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my... Guardian of Oa, I am Batman, of the planet Earth. What do I call you?
Greetings, Batman of Earth. Congratulations on being selected as the protector of the galaxy.
Thank you. How was I selected?